Okay, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we've got a really interesting set of sources.
Yeah, quite a mix. We're looking at history, language, anthropology, even spirituality.
And it all centers on something you see every day, the letter U.
Seems pretty basic, doesn't it? Just, another letter.
Totally. But the research we've been looking at, well, it suggests this simple shape might have a much deeper story, maybe older than we think.
Right. The core idea really is that the shape of you, maybe even its sound, could be tied to a really fundamental human action, a gesture.
A gesture that maybe goes back even before writing itself.
Exactly. That's the potential connection.
So yeah, our mission today is to unpack that. How does a common letter end up linked to, like, basic human needs and ancient symbols?
Finding the hidden meaning, sort of.
Exactly. Finding it in plain sight. Okay, let's dig in.
So one of the starting points here is that language, well, it's not just about alphabets popping up, right?
Uh-huh.
It's tied really closely to our bodies, our actions, our needs. It goes way back.
And the sources really emphasize that before writing, gestures were huge for communication.
Absolutely crucial.
And what's one of the most basic things humans need to survive.
Water. Always comes back to water.
Right. You need it. So how do you ask for it? Or how do you hold it if you don't have, say, a cup?
Instinctively, you'd cup your hands together.
Yeah. It's so simple, so universal.
Yeah.
You can imagine anyone, anywhere, doing that exact thing if they needed a drink.
And here's the visual link the sources focus on. If you look at those cupped hands, but from the side view,
Okay, picturing it.
what shape do you see?
It's a U. Yeah, it really is.
It kind of just clicks, doesn't it?
Okay.
And the argument is, this isn't just a fluke of geometry. That gesture, the cup hands, it could have been one of the first, universally understood signals.
A visual sign for I need something or give me.
Pretty much. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. A gesture like that. Super efficient.
Crosses language barriers.
Totally. A basic signal for need, understood everywhere, long before complex grammar or written alphabets came along.
Okay, so we've got the gesture and the visual U shape it makes from the sign. Now let's think about sound.
Right, the vocal part.
If you're making that gesture, reaching out, maybe making it sound to get attention for water, what sound might come out naturally?
Well, the sources suggest a really simple open vowel sound, like you.
U.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to make, isn't it? Your mouth doesn't have to do much.
Very little effort. And think about the physical shape again. The roundness of your mouth when you make that U sound.
Ah, it mirrors the cupped hands.
Exactly. That's the connection they draw. The shape of the mouth mirrors the shape of the asking hands.
So you get this convergence. You've got the gesture, the cupped hands, the sound, the primal U,
Right.
and the fundamental need water.
Mm-hmm.
The forces call it a kind of triangle of meaning.
It's a really compelling idea, isn't it?
It is.
And the suggestion is that this link, gesture, sound, need was maybe so strong, so ancient.
That when writing eventually developed.
That fundamental U shape was inspired, at least in part, by this incredibly basic, meaningful gesture.
Wow. It gives such a rich backstory to just
Yeah.
a letter.
Absolutely. Tying a shape and a sound right back to survival.
But okay, the story keeps going. The sources show this gesture didn't just stay about physical thirst.
No, it evolved. It transformed. That same act of cupping hands, reaching out.
It became more than asking for water.
Yes. It became a way of asking from, well, something bigger, asking from the divine.
Like in prayer.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing how this posture of, physical need turns into the symbol of humility and prayer across so many cultures.
You see it everywhere, don't you? Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, open hands, often cupped.
That posture of reaching out, being open, maybe a bit vulnerable, asking for something essential.
And the sources talk about the meaning behind it in prayer, things like submission, hope.
And spiritual thirst. That echo of the original need for water, but on a different level. There's actually a really specific example mentioned from Islamic tradition.
All right.
When people end their prayers saying Amin, they often use that same cupped hand shape, the one used for water.
Wow. That's a direct link.
It really illustrates that transition, doesn't it? From physical need to spiritual asking.
So a gesture literally for survival becomes a gesture for, spiritual connection or help.
It really shows how deep this simple action runs in us, connecting the physical world and, the spiritual impulse.
Okay, staying with the hands for a second. The sources bring up another way to look at them. What if you look down at your cupped hands from above? Especially if you were actually holding water in them.
Ah, right. Then you see a circle.
And
Yeah.
And this leads to a really almost poetic idea in the sources, a kind of duality between you and O based on this one gesture.
It's fascinating symbolism. The U, seen from the side, that's the container, right? The asking, the emptiness reaching out.
The vessel waiting.
Exactly. And the O, seen from above, that's the fullness, completion. Maybe it represents the answer, the divine response, what fills the vessel.
So the hands become these symbols of connection.
Hmm.
The U is like the human reaching out.
The plea, the need.
And the O is the response, the fulfillment, the circle of completeness.
It adds such a layer of meaning to these two letters we see constantly, U and O.
Now, we should probably mention the standard history.
Right, the linguistic tracing.
Yeah. Conventionally, the Latin U is traced back through Greek letters to the Phoenician wa.
Which originally served a different function and eventually split into letters like V and U.
So the sources we're looking at, they aren't necessarily saying that history is wrong.
No, not at all. It's more like they're adding another layer on top, a symbolic layer, an anthropological one.
Connecting the letter back to this really basic human stuff.
Yeah.
Needing water, the hand gesture, the sound, prayer.
And that visual symbolism of U as the asking and O as the receiving or fullness.
So why does this symbolic idea feel so compelling, even if it's not the direct line of how the written character evolved?
Well, I think because it resonates on multiple levels, it just feels right somehow.
How so?
Okay, first, the visual similarity between cupped hands and U is pretty obvious.
Hard to miss.
Second, the need for water is such a primal, symbolic thing for humans. Third, U is a plausible, basic vowel sound.
Makes sense.
Fourth, the gesture transforming into prayer that's seen across cultures, it's spiritually resonant.
Okay.
So it connects the letters' shape and sound to our deepest needs and maybe even our highest hopes. It just clicks.
It provides that myth and meaning layer the sources talk about.
Exactly. It transforms you from just, squiggles on a page into something packed with human experience.
Okay, so bringing it back to you, listening right now, what's the takeaway from this deep dive?
Well, it means that maybe you can look at the letter U a little differently now.
It stops being just the 21st letter of the alphabet.
Right. It could become a symbol of that fundamental human thing, longing, needing, reaching out humbly for something vital.
Whether that's physical, like water, or
Yeah.
something more. Spiritual nourishment.
Yeah. This perspective sees the letter as reflecting really deep parts of us, our needs, our beliefs, woven from gesture, sound, spirit, not just from the history of writing systems alone.
So maybe the next time you see you somewhere, sign, book, whatever, or even when you cup your hands.
You might feel that little connection.
Yeah, that connection to this ancient universal human story we've been unpacking.
It definitely makes you pause and reconsider the familiar.
It really does. So we started with this simple idea, cupping hands for water.
Linked it potentially to a primal sound.
You saw how that gesture could evolve into a symbol for prayer, for spiritual asking.
And then found that beautiful duality with, the asking and the receiving, the emptiness and the fullness.
The sources really frame you as this kind of letter of life.
Connecting water, worship, need, nourishment, all in one simple shape. Pretty powerful when you think about it.
Completely changes how you might view the basic building blocks of language.
For sure.
So here's maybe a final thought for you to take away and mull over. How many other shapes or sounds in our language, things that seem totally ordinary, might also hold these kinds of echoes?
Echoes of old gestures, basic needs, ancient beliefs.
Exactly. What other parts of language might be carrying these hidden symbolic stories, just sort of waiting there?
That's a great question. There's probably always more meaning hiding in plain sight.
Worth keeping an eye out for.
Yeah.
Keep looking, keep listening, and keep diving deep with us.